Let's get you all the latest updates on Rajnikant's health, because ahead of his big political plunge, the superstar has been admitted to a hospital in Hyderabad. His doctors have said that Rajni is being treated for fluctuation in blood pressure levels. He's been kept currently under observation. Thalaivar is very much stable. He'll undergo more tests today after being admitted on Friday morning. Rajnikant's health scare could really be a cause of worry, as 4 crew members from his upcoming film Annathe had tested positive for COVID. The superstar, however, was tested on December 22nd and has shown no symptoms so far. Actor and Neta Kamal Haasan, meanwhile, has wished Rajni a speedy recovery via Twitter.
Less than a week to go for Thalaivar's political plunge, the superstar is facing a health scare. Rajnikant is admitted in Apollo Hospital in Hyderabad. The hospital says Rajni was admitted on Friday morning following fluctuations in his blood pressure. The hospital has confirmed that the superstar has not shown any COVID symptoms and is completely stable. However, superstar Rajnikant will remain under observation till his BP settles down and he won't be allowed to meet visitors. The superstar is accompanied by his daughter at the hospital. Rajni's health condition is a concern for his fans, as just a few days ago, 4 members of his film crew tested positive for COVID. Thalaivar, however, tested negative on December 22nd.
Shooting, sir, is working morning 10 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So I'm thinking he's getting a lot of hard work with that. I'm thinking he got a stress like that, and just some health issues came to him. And here in Hyderabad, the climate is also very cold here compared to Chennai. So little bit, just he got some health issues, that's all.
Rajnikant had announced that he will contest 2021 Tamil Nadu Assembly polls. The announcement came after his delayed political plunge for months, reportedly over health concerns.
A day after Prime Minister Modi made his biggest outreach yet to farmers amid those raging protests over the contentious farm laws, agitating farmer unions will be holding a key huddle to give a point-by-point response to the Prime Minister's speech. Now, the Kisan Samyukta Morcha, that has nearly 40 unions across the country, will also discuss on the letter sent by the Agriculture Ministry to protesting farmers, allaying their apprehensions over the farm laws. Prime Minister, in his outreach to farmers, had urged them to come for talks, also expressed his government's willingness to make amendments in the laws based on facts. Now, farmers maintain that they're not being misled and claim that the farm laws will benefit corporates and not the farmers.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi makes his biggest outreach to farmers who have laid siege at Delhi's borders. After a stalemate that has lasted 30 days and seen several rounds of talks fail, the Prime Minister has made point-by-point clarifications in a bid to allay fears of farmers.
तर्क और तथ्य के आधार पर हर कसौटी पर हमारे ये निर्णय कसे जा सकते हैं। उसमें कोई कमी है तो उसको इंगित करना चाहिए, लोकतंत्र है। हमें सब प्रकार का भगवान ने ज्ञान दिया ऐसा दावा हमारा नहीं है, लेकिन बात तो हो।
Prime Minister Modi offered to make amendments in the new farm laws wherever needed.
मैं नम्रता के साथ कहता हूं, हमारी सरकार किसान हित में उनसे भी बात करने के लिए तैयार है, लेकिन बात मुद्दों पर होगी, तर्क और तथ्यों पर होगी। साथियों, हम देश के अन्नदाता को उन्नत करने के लिए हर संभव प्रयास कर रहे हैं।
The biggest bone of contention, the minimum support price, also found mention in the Prime Minister's interaction with farmers in 6 states.
इन कानूनों को लागू हुए कई महीने बीत गए हैं, क्या आपने देश के किसी एक कोने में एक भी मंडी के बंद होने की खबर सुनी है? जहां तक एमएसपी का सवाल है, हाल के दिनों में सरकार ने बहुत सी फसलों का न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य भी बढ़ा दिया है। ये कृषि सुधारों के बाद भी हुआ है, नए कृषि कानूनों के बाद भी हुआ है।
But first, the Prime Minister wants farmers to return to the negotiating table.
लोकतंत्र में अटूट आस्था और श्रद्धा होने के कारण, किसानों के प्रति हमारा समर्पण होने के कारण हर समय किसानों के हर मुद्दे पर चर्चा के लिए सरकार तैयार है। समाधान के लिए हम खुला मन लेकर के चल रहे हैं।
Despite repeated assurances from Prime Minister Modi, farmers continue to play hardball. They are adamant that the government must repeal the laws first. In this Mexican standoff, the biggest question remains, who will blink first? Bureau Report, India Today.
The Prime Minister also mounted a sharp attack on the entire opposition over the farm laws, accusing them of misleading farmers and also fear-mongering on these reforms. The Prime Minister particularly called out the left's hypocrisy, asking why Kerala had not implemented the APMC Act and mandis in the state so far and yet opposed the farm laws across the country.
"30 days braving the harsh cold of Delhi. Thousands of farmers remain steadfast on their demand for repealing the 3 new farm laws. With the talks between centre and farm unions ending in a stalemate, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday made an emotive appeal and a forceful reassurance.
हर समय किसानों के हर मुद्दे पर चर्चा के लिए सरकार तैयार है। समाधान के लिए हम खुला मन लेकर के चल रहे हैं।
The Prime Minister also took the opposition head-on, accusing them of spreading lies and provoking the farmers.
ये किस तरह की राजनीति कर रहे हैं, जिसमें कोई तर्क नहीं, कोई तथ्य नहीं है, सिर्फ झूठे आरोप लगाओ, सिर्फ अफवाहें फैलाओ, हमारे किसानों को डरा दो और भले भोले किसान कभी-कभी आपकी बातों में गुमराह हो जाते हैं।
The Prime Minister's statement drew sharp reactions.
आप कच्छ चले जाते हो, आप मध्य प्रदेश किसानों से बात कर सकते हो, लेकिन यहाँ से 22 किलोमीटर दूर में जहाँ खुले आसमान की तले महीनों भर 30 जान गंवाने का बाद भी किसान बैठे हैं, आप उनके साथ बात करके उनका जो समस्याएं हैं, उनका जो मांग है, वो पूरी करने में क्या दिक्कत है आपको?
And the war of words kept escalating.
भारत सरकार ने जो नए कानून बनाए हैं वह किसानों के जीवन स्तर में बदलाव लाने वाले हैं, किसान को स्वतंत्रता प्रदान करने वाले हैं, किसान की माली हालत सुधारने वाले हैं।
Reform is all right to an extent, but in a country like India, reforms cannot be anti-farmer or anti-worker.
The Modi government is reaching out to farmers on multiple fronts. The centre released over 18,000 crore rupees to more than 9 crore farmer families under the Kisan Samman scheme on Friday. The PM's teammates have also gone on the front foot.
विपक्ष के नेताओं के पास कोई मुद्दा नहीं, एक कोरा झूठ फैला रहे हैं कि एमएसपी बंद होने जा रही है। प्रधानमंत्री ने स्पष्ट कर दिया है, आज मैं फिर से स्पष्ट करना चाहता हूं किसानों के सामने, एमएसपी थी, है और हमेशा के लिए रहने वाली।
While the farmers have so far insisted on a total repeal of the farm laws, the Prime Minister's direct appeal opens another window for negotiations to restart. The big question is whether the farmers will take it or leave it. Bureau Report, India Today.
So in his nearly 2-hour-long interaction, the Prime Minister clearly came out all guns blazing against the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee as well. Prime Minister Modi accused Mamata of blocking centre schemes and declared that her ideology would ruin the state. The West Bengal Chief Minister has also responded. Here's how the war of words really played out.
कुछ नहीं बोलते, वो यहाँ दिल्ली के नागरिकों को परेशान करने पर लगे हुए हैं.
It was a reach out to the farmers, the biggest so far by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But it was also a political war cry. As Prime Minister Modi tore into the opposition, accusing it of hypocrisy. He focused on Bengal, a state which goes to polls next year. A state where the BJP is in a prestige battle with the Trinamool Congress. Modi lashed out at West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee for blocking central schemes meant for farmers in the state.
राज्य सरकारों के माध्यम से किसानों का ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन होने के बाद उनके आधार नंबर और बैंक खातों का वेरिफिकेशन होने के बाद इस व्यवस्था का निर्माण हुआ है. एकमात्र पश्चिम बंगाल सरकार, वहां के 70 लाख से अधिक किसान, मेरे किसान भाई बहन बंगाल के, इस योजना के वो लाभ नहीं ले पा रहे हैं.
Prime Minister Modi claimed Mamata was denying farmers their due for purely political reasons.
बंगाल की सरकार अपने राजनीतिक कारणों से उनके राज्य के किसानों को भारत सरकार से पैसा जाने वाला है. राज्य सरकार को एक कौड़ी का खर्चा नहीं है, फिर भी वो पैसे उनको नहीं मिल रहे हैं.
The PM in his attack was specifically referring to the centre's income support scheme for farmers. Under the Prime Minister Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme, 6,000 rupees is transferred to farmers in 3 installments per year. Mamata's government has instead implemented her own Krishak Bandhu scheme, which gives 5,000 rupees to farmers. While the centre scheme has no death benefits, Krishak Bandhu gives a farmer's family 2 lakh rupees in case of death.
আমরা রাজ্য সরকারের থেকেই এখন সহযোগিতা পাচ্ছি, কিন্তু কেন্দ্র সরকারের যেটা বলছেন এটা এখন হয়তো শুনছি, যদিও এটা আগে কিছু শুনতাম না, এখন শুনছি, কিন্তু এখনো পর্যন্ত এর ব্যাপারে ভালোভাবে অবগত হয়নি.
না, আমরা পাইনি. আমরা রাজ্যেরটা পাচ্ছি, রাজ্যের যে কৃষক বন্ধু চেক, সেই চেকটা পাচ্ছি. কেন্দ্রের কোনো এখন পর্যন্ত টাকা পাইনি. সেই টাকা যদি আমরা পেতাম খুবই উপকৃত হতাম.
Meanwhile, Bengal Chief Minister targeted the Prime Minister, saying he is trying to mislead the people with half-truths. The TMC Supremo said that the state government has always been ready to cooperate and cited 2 letters written to the centre. She accused the centre of indulging in malicious propaganda for political gains.
The West Bengal government wrote to the centre saying that whatever money you want to distribute according to your Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, please channel it to the state government. They want to give the money directly to the farmers and tell them that Modi Baba has sent.
The Trinamool Congress has clarified that it is not opposed to the central government's farm benefit scheme in principle. However, it is opposed to the way the scheme is being implemented, saying that the federal structure was being bypassed, the state government was being bypassed, and the Modi government was trying to reach out directly to the farmers right ahead of the impending state elections. They say the state government itself has its own farm benefit scheme, Krishak Bandhu, which has far better provisions than the central scheme. With camera person Shamsundar Ghosh, Indrajit for India Today in Kolkata.
After Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh may also become the second state to have a law against love jihad. The MP cabinet will discuss the anti-love jihad bill draft today, while the Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan will head the meeting. MP Home Minister Narottam Mishra has said that the proposed draft contains provisions which are not there in laws being enacted by other states. He added that in case of a divorce, maintenance has to be given and the person who conducts such a marriage will also be punished. Last month, Uttar Pradesh passed the anti-love jihad law to curb forcible religious conversions for marriage.
लव के नाम पर कोई जिहाद नहीं होगा और कोई ये हरकत करेगा तो ठीक कर दिया जाएगा और उसके लिए कानूनी व्यवस्थाएं बनाई जाएगी।
बहुत जल्दी लव जिहाद का कानून कैबिनेट के अंदर आने वाला है और कैबिनेट के बाद में वो मध्य प्रदेश की विधानसभा में जो 28, 29, 30 को सत्र है, उस सत्र के अंदर मध्य प्रदेश विधानसभा में हम लेके आने वाले हैं। वो संस्थाएं जो इनमें शादी कराती हैं, वो संस्थाएं जो दान देती हैं, जो दान लेती हैं, उन सबका भी रजिस्ट्रेशन कैंसिल करने का प्रस्ताव इसमें विचाराधीन है।
And let's also listen in to what legal experts exclusively told India Today on the issue of love jihad.
I personally feel that UP government has found certain cases wherein there is a dubious conversion for marriages. And when I say the dubious conversion, it means there is some ill design, ill motive behind it. Now, Rahul, what you have said, that why the 2 months notice is required to be given, and no doubt this legislation says that if they wish to change their religion for the marriage, then they will require to give 2 months notice. Now this 2 months notice so that the police authorities will find out what is the intention and what is the cause behind this marriage. Is there a foul case? Because there are certain cases of the love jihad in UP and elsewhere also. You will also appreciate there is the Freedom of Religious Act in certain states, that is Freedom of Religious Act 2006 also. And the Supreme Court has upheld the constitutional validity of the Freedom of Religious Act 2006.
The state has no business of asking me what my personal belief is. Then the right to believe will also have the right to change my belief. How is the state concerned what religion I profess? And therefore, according to me, anything which requires a person to first declare that he or she wants to change his religion to get married, and then only the marriage would be legal, is totally unconstitutional, violative of the right of privacy, also the right of equality, because this is though on the face of it is a gender neutral law, but it is quite obvious that it is very patriarchal in the way it has been structured, and therefore, according to me, it would also be violative of Article 14. It's not gender sensitive. It is, in fact, totally against gender equality.
To add more muscle to the counter-terror grid, India's Intelligence, Internal Security and Counter-Intelligence Agency, the Intelligence Bureau, is expanding its multi-agency center network to the district level. Now the network will in fact cover 825 locations around the country from the existing 374. This addition will really enhance IB's ability to tab inputs swiftly and more efficiently. This major expansion comes at a time when India's multi-agency network services are really flooded with over 150 inputs a day, ranging from terror alerts from conflicted Kashmir, northeast states, Maoist zones and also suspicious terror activities in urban India. The last time the multi-agency went for an overhaul was back in December 2008 after the 26/11 attack. And a Pakistan High Court has released 4 convicts in the Daniel Pearl murder case. The order states that the killers have suffered irreparable harm and extreme prejudice after spending 18 years in jail before their acquittal. Pakistan is facing a lot of heat from America for releasing these convicts and therefore has taken them back into custody. Here are all the details.
As the world watches in horror, a Pakistan court has ordered the release of 4 men earlier convicted of abducting and murdering American journalist Daniel Pearl in 2002. The court ordered the release of this man, British national Ahmed Omar Saeed Sheikh, who along with other accused had been found guilty in 2002. Their conviction was, however, overturned in 2020 by the Sindh High Court. IC-814 hijacked from Kathmandu in December 1999 was also planned to secure the release of the dreaded terrorist then in Indian custody along with the Maulana of terror, Masood Azhar.
Pakistan Army through the ISI controls all the wings of the Pakistan administration, including judiciary. There is a big lesson for Americans who were responsible in propping up the ISI and Pakistan Army to a very large extent.
The Sindh High Court order calling for the release of the killer of journalist Daniel Pearl says Omar Sheikh and the other accused had suffered irreparable harm and extreme prejudice after spending 18 years in jail before their acquittal. Under intense global pressure, the Imran Khan government had then been forced to take the men into custody again.
Pakistan has got duplicity. Pakistan has got no intent to fight terrorism, to reduce funding, and to go by the norms of the United Nations and under the watchdog of FATF. It's a shame and a crying shame at that Pakistan is still continuing with its terrorist act in the world.
Intelligence agencies say the 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who was arrested in Pakistan, had reportedly confessed he beheaded South Asia Bureau Chief of the Wall Street Journal, Daniel Pearl.
And this is what is the actual, color of Pakistan. Terrorists move freely there. There is no law and order, and especially the deep state control everything. And anyone who is pointing out finger toward ISI, he is eliminated. And no evidence is produced in the court. That is the irony of Pakistan. A sad day, but this is a fact that this is what has happened in Pakistan.
Omar Saeed Sheikh is considered an asset of Pakistan ISI, and analysts see ISI armed to assist Pakistan's judiciary in securing the acquittal of their asset. However, Pakistan is under pressure from the US administration and Pearl's family to ensure the alleged killers remain in custody. Bureau Report, India Today.
Karima Baloch, a Pakistani human rights activist living in exile in Canada, was found dead on Sunday, while the Toronto police say that they have no reason to suspect foul play. Karima's family and supporters say that her death at least warrants a closer inspection. Protests have been raging from Pakistan to Canada on this issue.
There is anger from Quetta and Karachi in Pakistan to Toronto in Canada.
If not, it's
Protest rallies were carried out in different cities across Pakistan against the death of activist Karima Baloch in Canada under mysterious circumstances. Baloch leaders say Karima Baloch was murdered and have demanded a thorough investigation. Karima Baloch, who spoke against atrocities by the Pakistan Army, sent a Rakhi to Prime Minister Modi and sought help for Balochis, was found dead on Tuesday in Canada. Canadian police found her body drowned off an island near Toronto's Lakeshore. In 2016, she escaped from Balochistan with the help of a few friends and Baloch activists, fearing for her life. This is what Karima had told India Today in August 2016.
बलूच एजुकेटर से, बलूच इंटेलेक्चुअल फिगर से पाकिस्तान को खतरा है। पाकिस्तान बलूचिस्तान में जो तालीमी इदारे हैं उनको धीरे धीरे उनको मजहबी मदारिस में तब्दील कर रही है। आर्मी कई इलाके तो ऐसे हैं जहाँ पे स्कूल हैं और कॉलेजेस हैं, उनकी बिल्डिंग हैं, वहाँ से टीचर्स को और स्टूडेंट्स को भगाया गया और आर्मी का कब्जा है।
While in exile, Karima kept raising her voice against atrocities on locals in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
हजारों लोग उठा के
गायब कर दिए जाते हैं, घरों को बम्बार्डमेंट की जाती है। जो लोग गायब किए जा रहे हैं, मुसलसल उनकी लाशें मिल रही हैं या वो सालों से ऐसे ही गायब हैं, उनके बारे में कोई मालूमात नहीं मिल रही हमें।
Friends and fellow activists in Canada and other places across the world expressed their dismay over Karima's sudden death and are refusing to accept that it was an accident. Karima's mysterious death comes months after Baloch journalist Sajid Hussain was found dead in similar condition outside Uppsala in Sweden. Bureau Report, India Today.
Indian bowlers have picked 3 quick wickets in the opening session of the second test against Australia at the MCG. Jasprit Bumrah was rewarded for bowling a probing line and got the better of Joe Burns. Ravichandran Ashwin then struck twice. The off-spinner dismissed Matthew Wade for 30 and then got the big wicket of Steve Smith. The number 1 test batsman fell to Ashwin for the second time as Australia were reduced to 38 for 3. Marnus Labuschagne used the review to overturn an LBW decision as Australia went into lunch at 65 for 3.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.